Well, not that much has changed yet. Because of the school rule, I've had to stay in Cincinnati. So I've just been keeping myself busy, trying to prepare for when I go down there in about a week for my first mini camp. Other than staying in Cincinnati and training, I've been able to visit Houston once to go down there and start to look for a house and things like that. But really not much has changed yet because I'm still here in Cincinnati, still working out with UC's football team and doing what those guys are doing.
You did go down for one mini camp. What was that like? How many guys have you met with the Texans, teammates, front office, coaches, all that stuff?
Well, when I went down there right after the draft, that's when I got to meet everybody. But the Texans don't have a rookie mini camp, which I would have been allowed to go to, but they don't have one. They just have our first mini camp, which is June 15th. So really all I've missed so far is just the OTAs.
You're not a very good be on the sidelines and watch kind of guy, I don't think. How tough has it been for you to know that football is going on and you can't be in it right now?
Yeah, it's been kind of tough, but you know, some people look at it as a disadvantage for me with the quarter system here at Cincinnati and not being able to be down there with everybody. But really, I think I turned it into an opportunity for me. Most guys right after the draft, after a lot of training, they have to jump down to wherever they get drafted, get right into a mini camp, then right into OTAs, and they never really get a minute to take a breath and rest for a minute. So I got to take about a week off and really get myself back together. And then since then, I've done everything I can to get prepared for my first mini camp.
Has it been nice relaxing after the whirlwind is done, from the Orange Bowl to the Senior Bowl to the Combine to the whole draft process? You've had some time to decompress. Is it settled in and you're settled down now and it's nice to not be in the spotlight?
Yeah, it really has, and that's kind of what I just touched on. Everything is rapid fire. Everybody says, you know, your senior year, it's the biggest year, and then you don't really get a break till you go to your first really long first NFL season. But for me, I got to have a little week break where I really kind of decomposed, caught my breath, and I think it was really important for me.
What was the best thing you learned in that whole process? I mean, it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. You had to embrace and enjoy it because you only go through it once in your lifetime. What did you learn from it?
You know, I think the biggest thing I learned from it was, you know, it's a competitive 4 or 5 months. I mean, everything you do is important. There's not one thing that's more important than the other. I think you learn that the Senior Bowl was just as important as the interviews that you did. And I also learned that, you know, there's not a lot of separation in talent throughout the draft process. So, like I said, I mean, that makes every single thing that you do very, very important.
How excited are you to be a part of the Houston organization, and what do you foresee just in what you've learned about them in the last month?
Well, I'm very excited to be a part of their organization. Mr. McNair is a great owner. He took care of me and my family when I went down there. I know the Houston community loves their football. And the expectations for me are to get in there right away and make plays. They drafted me in the second round for a reason, and I think they want me to do things in my first year. And I think also the expectation from the city and the owner and the coaches is that, you know, the Texans need to be a playoff team next year. The city of Houston hasn't seen a playoff game since 1994, so they expect this to be the year.
Grothy takes off up the middle, but they were spying him and they grab him. Barwin having himself an all Big East type season, stopping the quarterback. Here comes a punt.
Barwin's having an amazing year. He leads the Big East in sacks with 7. Here's a guy that played tight end last year. He's on the right of your screen. You're just going to see him stunt inside. He's a great athlete with the speed. He also plays on the basketball team.
You work all your life from when you first get into high school and start thinking I could play in the NFL, and you said that once you got to UC, you saw the talent, you saw Brent Selleck go, and you figured that you had a pretty good shot of doing that. Now that you've reached that goal, is it tough to reassess after you spent so much time trying to get to that level? Now you have to say, what do I do at that level?
Yeah, I mean, it's as a competitor, a lot of people have come up to me and said, wow, you know, Connor, doesn't it feel good that you've made it to the NFL? And I think the funny thing is the day that I made it in the NFL, it was over with. That was just a small step. Now there's even bigger goals. I mean, now it's about becoming a real pro, and a real pro is somebody that plays, you know, at least 8 years, not somebody that plays in the league for 2 years. I mean, for me now it's becoming, you know, a starter. It's becoming making the playoffs. It's becoming somebody that wins the Super Bowl, and it's becoming a real pro, which is for me, you know, playing 8 to 12 years.
And again, as pros, a lot of guys focus on what they do and their stats and their contract and their future. You look at that, but you also look at things from a team point of view.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, if anybody asked me what my best memory was from Cincinnati, I'm going to say it was beating Syracuse, which wasn't a great game for me in any aspect, but it was the game my senior year with the rest of my senior teammates that we won the Big East outright. Definitely the biggest achievement that I've had in my life, and I know I'm going to have that same feeling at the next level. I'm going to want to win playoff games. I'm going to want to win a Super Bowl, and that's really what makes you feel the best.
What's your best memory away from football here in Cincinnati? I mean, you can easily go back and look at the games. Memory-wise, what do you look back on here at UC, and what did you learn here aside from football?
You know, I learned that as far as school goes, I learned I probably want to go into education and teaching probably. I had to switch my major to figure that out. And as far as some of my best memories here away from football, they're probably things that I can't talk about with you on an interview, but they really just have to do with, you know, hanging out with the guys, you know, doing fun things, memories. I mean, times in the locker room. I'll never forget being in the back of the defensive bus this last year with guys like Bird and Ricardo Matthews. I mean, just really great people to be around.
A lot of people will remember you for holding the Big East trophy up at the final game. How else do you want to be remembered, not for the accomplishment game-wise, but how do you want to be remembered by people while you were here?
Well, I want to be remembered for holding that Big East trophy because that was the biggest thing, you know, winning the Big East outright for me. After that, I just want to be remembered as a guy that, you know, really gave everything he had to this university. I think I, you know, embraced this university, loved the opportunities that I was given, and I loved living in this city. I'll always be back here, I'll always be back in the summers working out, and it was really just, you know, an amazing 4 years that I'm so grateful for.
I was going to say, when I talked to your dad at Pro Day, he went on and on about how this stadium is the Wrigley Field of college football and should never be changed, and how he loved it. How neat was it for you to come in as a freshman and see 17,000 of us there, but on your final game, standing room only?
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes it so special. That's what I keep talking about, winning that Big East outright. And it made it so special because the guys that did it was me and the rest of the guys that I came in with. I mean, it was a senior-dominated class, and we were the guys that had to put in the work from the beginning all the way to the end. And we saw the hard work that we put in pay off, and we saw the community and the city really embrace us.
What do you foresee for the team and the program in the future? Not specifically this year, how many games are they going to win, but where's the program going, and do you think it'll continue to grow?
Yeah, I think if they keep winning, it'll always continue to grow. I mean, winning is what brings people in. If they start losing games, well, then the players here better not expect to have standing room only because it's about winning. I hope Coach Kelly stays here and they can keep him as long as they can because obviously, you know, he's an unbelievable coach and he's great for this community. He just fits in well with, you know, what this community needs out of a football coach. So the future I foresee is very high. I think Cincinnati should be like Louisville was, you know, back when they had Brian Brom and things like that, when they kind of just ran through the Big East. I hope they're like West Virginia was, you know, early on in my career, or the first 3 years here in the Big East. So I hope they win this Big East championship and kind of keep it going for the next couple of years.
So you'll be back. Cincinnati is now a part of you. This was not just a 4-year stop where you'll move on and we'll never see you again. Cincinnati is now a part of you. Is that safe to say?
Very safe to say. I mean, when I say I loved my time here, I really did, and I want to be involved with Cincinnati as long as I can. So I'll definitely always be back.